Welcome to Pop Culture Icons. I'm your host, Maya Starr. Today on Pop Culture Icons. Ever feel like your voice doesn't matter? Today, we dissect Joe Rogan's journey from bullied kid to controversial icon, revealing how his relentless pursuit of truth resh aped media and sparked a firestorm, uncovering a hidden cost that will make you rethink the power of your own words. What if his story could help you find your voice and inspire you to live your truth? The microphone stands ready, silent, waiting. In a dimly lit podcast studio in Austin, Texas, Joe Rogan leans forward, his intense gaze fixed on his guest. The air crackles with anticipation as millions of invisible listeners tune in. This is where truth meets controversy, where authenticity collides with responsibility. In moments, he'll say something that will ignite another firestorm across social media. But first, let's understand how a self-proclaimed loser kid from Newark became the most influential voice in modern media. Picture a small apartment in Newark, New Jersey, 1972. 5-year-old Joe watches his father walk out the door for the last time. The smell of his mother's cooking lingers in the air, a futile attempt at normalcy. This moment burns itself into his young mind, marking the beginning of a childhood defined by absence and instability. You might recognize this feeling, standing at the window, watching your world shift beneath your feet, powerless to stop it. The constant relocations that followed created a peculiar kind of loneliness. Each new school brought the same ritual, being the outsider, the target, the kid who didn't quite fit. But in this crucible of isolation, something remarkable began to form. A voice. Not yet the booming presence that would later command millions of listeners, but a quiet determination to never again feel powerless. At 14, Joe discovers martial arts. The dojo becomes his sanctuary, the rough fabric of his taekwondo uniform a second skin. Here, among the disciplined movements and focused intensity, he finds what every lost soul craves: control. You can almost hear the sharp snap of kicks against practice pads, feel the sweat and determination as young Joe transforms himself from victim to victor. By 19, he's a national champion, his trajectory seemingly set. Then life throws its first real punch. Chronic injuries force him to abandon his fighting career. Imagine building your entire identity around one path, only to have it ripped away. This is where many stories would end. But for Joe, it's merely the first round. The comedy club stage is nothing like a martial arts mat. No rules, no form, just raw truth and the judgment of strangers. Joe's first attempts at stand-up are rough, unpolished. But there's something magnetic about his honesty, his willingness to explore uncomfortable truths. The same intensity that drove him in martial arts now fuels his comedy. Each laugh is a victory, each silence a lesson. Success comes gradually, then suddenly. NBC's news radio, Fear Factor, UFC commentary, but television's polished veneer feels constraining. You can see it in his eyes during interviews from this period. A restlessness, a hunger for something more authentic. In 2009, Joe starts a podcast. No grand plan, no corporate oversight, just conversations with friends recorded in a room. What happens next defies every convention of modern media. The Joe Rogan experience becomes a phenomenon, not because it's polished, but because it's raw. 3-hour conversations that dive deep into everything from consciousness to comedy, from politics to psychedelics. If you're enjoying pop culture icons, please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code for our free 7-day email course, The Fame Formula. Discover how unknowns like Elon, Taylor Swift, and Beyoncé became cultural phenomena. Now, back to the episode. But authenticity comes with a cost. As his platform grows, so does the scrutiny. Every word becomes a potential headline. Every conversation, a possible controversy. The same raw honesty that built his empire now threatens to tear it down. During the COVID-19 pandemic, his questioning of mainstream narratives sparks unprecedented backlash. Old clips surface, taken out of context. The media machine that once embraced him now turns hostile. You might think this would make him retreat, soften his approach, but that's not who Joe Rogan is. Instead, he leans in. Each controversy becomes a conversation. Each criticism, an opportunity to explore deeper truths. The $100 million Spotify deal arrives not as a culmination, but as a new challenge. How do you maintain authenticity when the whole world is watching? In quiet moments between recordings, you might catch glimpses of the real Joe Rogan. Not the media figure, not the controversy magnet, but the eternal student. His studio becomes a modern-day salon where scientists debate philosophers, where comedians challenge politicians. But success breeds isolation. The same platform that allows him to reach millions also separates him from the simple truths he once knew. Every word is analyzed, every opinion dissected. The weight of influence becomes its own kind of cage. Here's the fascinating paradox. The more powerful Rogan's voice becomes, the more vulnerable he appears. In long-form conversations, you hear him wrestling with ideas in real time, admitting when he's wrong, changing his mind mid-discussion. This intellectual honesty, rare in today's media landscape, both attracts and repels. It makes him human, fallible, real. So what do we make of Joe Rogan? Is he a dangerous influence or a necessary voice? Perhaps he's both. His story teaches us something profound about modern discourse. Truth isn't always comfortable. Growth isn't always pretty. Sometimes the most valuable conversations are the ones that make us squirm. This brings us back to that quiet studio in Austin, where Joe Rogan sits before the microphone, ready for another conversation. But this story isn't really about him, it's about you. In a world increasingly divided into echo chambers, his journey challenges you to ask, what truths are you afraid to speak? What conversations are you avoiding? The real lesson of Joe Rogan's story isn't about building a media empire or gaining millions of followers. It's about the courage to remain curious in a world that demands certainty. To keep learning when others have stopped questioning. To stay authentic even when it costs you. Today, right now, you have a choice. Will you retreat into the comfort of accepted wisdom? Or will you dare to engage with ideas that challenge you? Will you risk being wrong in public? Will you maintain your curiosity even when it leads to uncomfortable places? This is your challenge. Choose one conversation you've been avoiding, one truth you've been dancing around. Then, like that kid from Newark who refused to stay powerless, step into the discomfort. Start the dialogue. Because in the end, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about staying curious, staying honest, and staying human. The microphone is waiting. What will you say? On the next episode of Pop Culture Icons. Imagine if Joe Rogan's pursuit of authenticity led him not just to unfiltered conversations, but also to a kindred spirit who found fame through his words. In our next episode, we journey with another podcast titan, a man who went from being a rebellious voice on college radio to an introspective interviewer, shaping the very medium Joe now dominates. Howard Stern's story is a testament to evolution and consequence, echoing the week's theme of talk show titans. So, what happens when two worlds of unfiltered truth collide? You won't want to miss this. Please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code, or follow the pinned link to get our free 7-day email course, The Fame Formula. 7 days, 7 brilliant tactics. Learn the mindset to go from invisible to influential using the dark arts of fame engineering. Click the video that just popped up to watch the next one in this series. Or for episode summaries, behind-the-scenes info, and more, go to daily8.com/PCI. Thanks for watching.